What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Outpost, and it did not take long for games journalists to come out and try to smear everyone that doesn't like The Last of Us Part 2 as bigots, misogynists, homophobes, etc. And now we have an entire article dedicated to calling people who don't like The Last of Us Part 2 incels. I guess it shouldn't be a shock at this point that these people would stoop so low time and time again. We're going to go over that, and also we have some sales out of the UK to indicate what this game may be doing. And again, we do have people using that to defend Naughty Dog, to defend Neil Druckmann. We'll get into it all. Before we start, I do just want to say that even though I have my feelings about Naughty Dog in The Last of Us Part 2, check out the pinned comment if you want one of these. I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, so I will be talking spoilers. If for some reason you still want to play this game, I wouldn't watch the rest of this video. But let's get into it right here. VG247, an absolute dog shit website. The Last of Us Part 2, the Incel review, spoilers, and of course it's written by Cuck McKean, right? This entire thing is a huge troll making fun of people who don't like The Last of Us Part 2 by calling you an incel. I'll read parts of it. I'm sitting in my bedroom surrounded by Fight Club posters, and I'm ready to play The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games for many reasons. The main one being that Joel Miller's the most relatable, heroic video game character ever. His gruff face, his beard, his flannel shirt, he's the perfect protagonist. He tortures people, but that only matters because he's a tortured soul himself. He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve, because that's where his watch, a present from his dead daughter, goes. But he has a heart of gold pounded beneath that plaid. Right, so they're sitting out here trying to give you the perspective of people that don't like The Last of Us Part 2 by calling them incels and saying, we love Joel for this reason. And we're going to get into more of it right here. Some people paint Joel as the villain due to the fact that he gunned down loads of doctors at the end of the original game. These disgusting surgeons want to fashion a cure from Ellie to save the world, but there's a catch. The surgery will kill her. Joel's real daughter is dead. Who will be his new daughter if he lets Ellie die here? Exactly. And that is so simplifying it too. And that is one of the things. Ironically, these people are calling people that don't like the game incels, but they're talking as if they don't have a child. Because I can tell you, if you do have a child, the choice that Joel makes at the end of The Last of Us isn't a choice at all. Anybody would do anything to save their child. The idea that these people are calling other people incels when it's clear you don't have a child is not lost on me. Ellie's 14 years old. She doesn't understand the world, how the world works. The Last of Us Part 2 opens with Joel admitting heroism. I saved her, he says correctly. His brother with Tommy is fully on board. This is amazing. I hope nothing happens to him. And then they talk here about Ellie. They say, oh yeah, Ellie's cool. I'm sure she's straight. That little kiss was nothing. Again, insulting gamers. Now I'm playing as someone called Abby. I'm not sure who this is, but I'm not convinced in her proportions. It's a scientific fact that women can't grow muscles, and I'm frankly terrified of being pounded into the dust by a henchwoman. Yes, calling gamers, yes, we're all scared of strong women. We're so scared of strong women, you know. That's why we love these games so much, right? Because we're scared of strong women. These people are so out of touch and disgusting. And then right here, Abby killed Joel. She killed him and someone else spat on him. I know people often talk about immersion, but I felt the man's spit hit me in the face. Spit from the mouth of Naughty Dog. I can't believe they've done this. Who wrote this SJW nonsense? They've made me a true fan, truly angry about a character death, a character who I love that they wrote who dies at the hands of a woman. Joel should have died a hero's death, facing off against 100 men in flannel shirts, or he could have simply snatched a shotgun and gunned them all down. They are simplifying these arguments, right? That is what they are doing. They're trying to make light of all of this stuff. They're talking about agendas. They're talking about women. They're talking about all these things and taking them to the next level and spinning all the arguments that people are making. So many people have said it's not about Joel dying, it's about how he dies. It's not the fact that he dies at the hands of a woman, you stupid fucktards, VG247. That's not the problem. Everyone knows that's not the problem. The problem is the way in which he died, the fact that he and Tommy all of a sudden just tell everyone their names, that they are, beaten to an absolute pulp and disrespected 2 hours into the game. And not only that, And look, then they go, I'm about to go on Twitter and come up with my very own joke to comment. Oh, Jolin won. Haha. I snapped my copy of The Last of Part 2 in half. I'm going to mail them to Heel Cuckman as a warning. Right? And then they say, now to see if Mother is nipping to the post office today. Right? Just making fun of gamers, calling them incels. Not a surprise by an absolute garbage tier fucking site like VG 24/7. And it's not just them, right? You have IGN editor Lucy O'Brien. Remember, when folks are upset at a sex scene in a piece of media because it's not made for their titillation, it's because they are a virgin and will sadly always be a virgin. Just in case you guys can't see that, I'll make sure you get Lucy O'Brien's quote so you don't forget what these people all think about you. And I did want to take a look. Like we said, we do have some news about The Last of Us Part 2 sales. The Last of Us Part 2 breaks Sony's UK PS4 sales record. But even in this article, they can't stop by saying the reason people don't like it is because they're misogynists or homophobes. And for no reason whatsoever. So let's take a look at this article, talk a little about sales, and talk about more about how these access media garbage tier sites are pieces of filth. This past week, The Last of Us Part 2 launched on PlayStation 4 about 3.5 years after its announcement. Given its critical reception and excitement for the original Last of Us, anticipation for the sequel was understandably high. Few may have predicted just how excited PlayStation gamers were for The Last of Us Part 2, however. According to early sales, The Last of Us Part 2 has become PS4's fastest selling exclusive yet. And I don't think that should be a surprise. We heard about the pre-orders breaking and smashing records. Now, this is just data from the UK. We don't have it from anywhere else yet, but the UK we are getting in first. According to GamesIndustry.biz, it outperformed the previous record holder, Uncharted 4, by just 1%. But digital sales are not included, so it's likely to be much higher. It's also to be noted that this is UK-only data, so it's not clear how it's faring globally yet. Another record that it's apparently being set is the fastest selling game in the UK. It was previously held by Animal Crossing, which The Last of Us Part 2 is topped by over 40%. The UK's, and they talk about the UK's top 10 games. Not that big of a deal. I don't want to go over that right now. But this right here is what I want to talk about. And the idea that this game is selling well is not a surprise. The Last of Us is one of the best games in Sony's history with the PlayStation. So, of course, the anticipation for this game is crazy. And just because we know all the leaks, just because we've been talking about it, doesn't mean that everyone in the world does. But as we see more people reacting to this and hating it, it's going to be very clear that this game is not going to perform well over time. You look at things like Game of Thrones Season 8. It was the most watched season in history. And people absolutely hated it. It's not a surprise, right? These things get a lot of attention. That is why Last Jedi made $1.3 billion and was absolutely trashed by the fans. Same thing is happening here. It'll be interesting to see if The Last of Us Part 2 maintains its momentum over the coming weeks. It's received very impressive scores from reviewers, but was review bombed at launch by certain niche communities. Certain niche communities. Let's just take a look right now. 16,000 positive, 31,000 negative reviews, 3.9. Now I have tons of people coming to me and telling me they still can't leave reviews, that Metacritic is not allowing them to leave negative reviews or that their reviews are being deleted. I went over that in a video yesterday. So many of these are fake. So many of these are fake. You can't just pretend like it's getting bombed into the dust by fake reviews and all these are real. These are fake as hell. So are some of these, so are some of these. There's also some incredibly nuanced takes in there if you go through them, but I'm sure they didn't. The result is a surprising controversy, partly driven by political beliefs clashing with protagonist Ellie's gender and sexuality, despite the game's widespread positive reception. Again, putting it on fans that you don't like Ellie because she's a woman and because of her sexuality. When in fact, this article that you linked from your same website, Game Rant, why some fans are so mad at The Last of Us Part 2. Let's look at the reasons they give in this article. Joel's death. Yeah, we talked about what they did to Joel in the disgusting way that they killed him for no reason whatsoever. And not to mention that the fact that they marketed the entire game with Joel. They marketed the entire thing with Joel and Ellie in mind, and then they pulled a fast one on us. Yes, next one. Deceptive marketing, just like we talked about. Deceptive marketing in the trailers to make you think Joel would be a part of this game. Lev's characterization. Yes, the fact that Lev, there's such a big story about Lev, a transgender child. A lot of people do have issues with that, sure. And then playing as Abby, the character that you see beat the living crap out of a character you love, you play 60% of the game as her. And guess what? Guess what? You never told us. You never told us. And if you really thought people would enjoy that, then why didn't you tell her? Look at this. You're a transphobe if you don't accept Abby as the new protagonist. Then why didn't you accept her and put her as the new protagonist and put her in the advertisements? Naughty Dog, mad. Because that's true. They didn't. You weren't even allowed to say Ellie's name or Abby's name in the reviews. You were not allowed to speak Abby's name for all the people that did reviews of this game. And as we continue down, The Last of Us 2's ending, the fact that you do all these things as Ellie to come back and only to forgive Abby in the end. Abby gets all the revenge and gets away with everything she wants, while Ellie's life is ruined when she doesn't get her revenge. Makes zero sense. Nothing in this is about playing as Ellie or her sexuality. Not a single thing in this article that you listed, yet you used it as a source to cite why you say that people have a problem with Ellie's gender and sexuality. You cannot trust these outlets. These people are disgusting. This is what they think of you. They're calling you an incel if you don't like this game. Games journalism is dead. Games media are absolute garbage to your websites. The reason so many people are turning away from that and going to YouTubers to find what they want to know about this game is because you can't trust these people anymore. I guess just let me know what you think about all of this crap. Media continuing to attack gamers because you don't think the way that they do. And they're going to invent every reason they can as to why you are a garbage person. Let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the pinned comment if you want your Naughty Dog merch. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.